for $20 million. And like, we got a deal, $20 million for this lease, for the store we never made money on. Century 21, their first year, did $300 million in sales. So their $20 million was way undersold. Century 21, since there, took over half the block past that. And during 9/11, you'll see some pictures of people running past this store. When I walked out the door, I was in front of the World Trade Center back then. When the store closed, I went to another area of town. They took me and they put me in uptown New York into Harlem. Now, Harlem was in a regentification. Am I saying that right? I don't know the words. Regentification. They're doing that in Brooklyn now. Where basically, they had a store. It was all black. The whole store, the whole neighborhood was black. And this is illegal today. You can never do this today. But this is 1980 something. They do things like this. They said, we want a white manager in the store. So they told me right to my face, which is so strange. So I went in the store and worked with the whole black crew. And everybody's sweet, everybody's wonderful, everything's wonderful. And my DM was a black man, Mr. Keeling. Me and him never got along. He was in a company that was, I don't know how to say it was a racist company. If you want to see Woolworth today, go to Washington, D.C., and I forgot which museum it is, but they have a lunch counter from the Woolworth in the South where they had riots for segregation at the lunch counter. That's what Woolworth is famous for today. In the South, and you go sit at the lunch counter at Woolworth, they kept. And one day, he had a lecture with me. He said, Barney, you don't understand the black man. They're getting over on you. I'm like, Mr. Killen, this guy's great. He's here 20 years. He's taking care of me. Because you don't understand it. After that, I resigned my job. I went to the corporate office and said, I cannot work with this guy. He's insane, he's racist, he's horrible. And I quit my job, and they brought me into the corporate office and said, Barney, please don't go. We'll give you another store with a different boss. I said, no. I said, thank you. If I would have took another store at that point, my career was over. I was up and coming fast. They would have put me in a store and I would have died there for the rest of my career. So I knew it was time to leave. After that, I went to a company called Lecter's Housewares. I want you to count how many companies I work for that do not exist. Does anybody exist still? Nobody exists still in my resume. I went to a company called Lecter's Housewares. Lecter's was a great company. It was 450 stores. It was in the malls. It was in the streets of New York. I became a store manager for them in 6 months. I was in their World Trade Center location. We had stores at the bottom of the World Trade Center. I was in charge of that one. The store was probably no bigger than that. We had 6 registers during the lunch hour. Every register was full. About 10 minutes after lunch, there was not a person in the store for another 3 hours until dinner break, and everybody went home. Company was great. I had a great relationship. This is the chairman of the board, Mr. Donald Jonas. He used to visit me in my store. He lived in Manhattan. He used to give me special assignments, look at locations for me. I gave him reports on loss prevention, all the things I learned from Woolworth, I gave to him. Well, me and Mr. Jonas got along good. I went from the World Trade Center location I went to the 57th Street location, then the Empire State location. I gave presentations for Wall Street investors. The stock was climbing. The company was doing great. Just tremendous amount of profit. I even owned the stock. We were just doing great. The new concept was basically Bed Bath & Beyond. It really wasn't established at Bed Bath & Beyond, and they were doing the same thing at the same time. And the company did great. In between, I took a couple of vacations to Vegas. And we like Vegas. One day I was looking at a house in Vegas. I went to a model homes while we were on vacation. And we found a home for $125,000. That was beautiful, brand new. I was living in Brooklyn in an apartment house, going an hour and a half to work every day on the train, the bus. It sucked. My life sucked in New York. It's the honest truth. Everybody's like, New York's cool. No, it sucks. All right. Well, I did that. I decided that, you know what, there's Lecter stores in Las Vegas. Let me ask for a transfer. All right. They didn't want to let me go. About a year later, I got my transfer. Well, the store in Vegas was doing so little, all the stores, they gave me all 3 stores to run. So I became the area manager of Las Vegas for the company. They just gave me a title, and they paid for my moving expense. They paid $5,000 to get me out here at my request. So Mr. Jonas definitely did like me. He did take good care of me. He's still alive today. I thought he was old back then. He must be like 100 now. Great guy. There's a picture from his foundation. He's a person who gives money away. All right. Well, I'm there, and Lecters is still in business. I'm making about $33,000 a year, most I ever made. Right? Well, I'm a rich guy, $33,000 back then. But in Vegas, you actually look very nice at $33,000 back then. It's 1994, and my wife sees an ad for a place called Home Place. Has anybody ever heard of Home Place? You probably never did. All right, home place. I saw the ad, I applied, I got the job. The company had one store at the time. They were going to open stores. They gave me options in the company. I had options. They didn't have stock yet, so I had options to buy stock later. I was going to be store number 4 in the chain. We put it on Maryland Parkway, Flamingo. Does everybody know where Seafood City is? All right, that's Home Place. That's where we built it. Home Place sold $1,000 comforter sets on Maryland Parkway and Flamingo. There is not that much business for $1,000 comforter sets on Maryland Parkway and Flamingo. We all know that. Well, I was working for Home Place. The place was a palace. During the grand opening, we had Regis Philbin came in. We had Gray and Kirk came in, the Galloping Gourmet. Big stars. We had kitchens. The place was built like a giant Bed Bath & Beyond, as nice as humanly possible. They were trying to get their market in with Bed Bath & Beyond and Linens and things. They were doing the same thing last company was doing. I was natural with that. Well, the store was doing business, but not much. Had a lousy advertising campaign, nothing really to talk about. Bad location, and basically was failing. My DM came in to do a survey and cut some payroll. Well, he started at the top. He cut me. On a new company, the store's not doing good. Who are you going to fire? Fire the manager. Well, I was number 1. I had 50 employees underneath me, 8 department managers, a couple assistants, and I was the first guy gone, and I was blown away. And this thing destroyed me. I never saw it coming. I was just, don't even know how to say it. All right, jump forwards a couple more. I'm going to skip my next company because I don't care. I did work after this. I'll give it to you quickly. Everybody ever hear Pick and Save? You hear of McFrugal's? Okay, Big Lots. You heard Big Lots, right? All right, I worked for McFrugal's here. At the time, I was making $48,000 in Home Place, the most I've ever made. Right? Couldn't get a job afterwards. Try getting a job after you got fired from being a manager and try to apply for a manager job. It's not good. No matter what you say, it's not good. It's always the other guy's fault, whatever. It just doesn't work. Well, I was working for, I got a job for Big Lots. They gave me a $15,000 pay cut. So I went there for $33,000 after making $48,000. I took what I do from Woolworth and from being self-employed. I got the store full, and that's all you needed. I worked a 6-day mandatory work week. You had to work 6 days, otherwise you'd get fired. They still do that, I think, today. Dollar General does that, Dollar Tree and all the other guys still do it. 6-day mandatory work week, 60 hours. I was having a great year, and I was up to a $10,000 bonus. Well, my wife looked at the newspaper Sunday, and she saw the ad for a company called Party City. Has anybody ever heard of Party City? Yes, we all heard of Party City, right? I never heard of Party City. This is 1996. There was no Party Cities. There's no Party Cities in Brooklyn. I'd never been to a party store. But she saw the ad, and the ad said, party store. My wife's like, okay, send the resume. Sent the resume, I get the phone call on Monday. They fly me out on Tuesday to Los Angeles for an interview. I go there, I meet up with Barry Kramer. Barry Kramer worked for McCrory Company, which was one of Woolworth's competitors in New York, but he was a great guy, he understood me. Well, I had the interview with him. I walked the store looked fun. I had a lot of merchandise I sold in Woolworth. They had a lot of fun stuff. You go to a party store, costumes, all this, it's great. And I got the job. I found out later that I was referenced before I ever went to California from a guy I used to work with in Woolworth. I didn't know that at the time. He told me afterwards, they asked my name, he said, yeah, hire him. I got the job in 2 days. Well, I worked at Party City, and we opened a store in Maryland Parkway, right near that whole place. Probably walkable to it. It's just timing, right? And the store did great. And I used what I was good at. In stock, inventory. The big thing in that company at the time was staying in stock. Managers were afraid to buy. I was never afraid to buy. You had to buy by mathematical equations. If you did five items this month, 5 items next month, 5 items next month, you have a 3-month trend. How many items did you sell? You sold 5 per month. You need 2 months supply. You need 10 items. You got 4 left. You buy 6. A lot of words quickly there, right? All right. A lot of guys can't do that. Gals too. I was really good at that. I could do basic math. I never went to college, but man, can I do basic math good. I could do it in my head. When I worked in that grocery store we first bought it, I used to write on the bag how much. We didn't use a cash register. $1.20, $1.50, $1.80, $1.99, add up and down columns, write the price around the bag. That's how we rang up sales. Something was taxable, we had a tax chart. I'd go up and down the tax chart, find your price, and charge you tax. So I was really good at adding, subtracting, multiplying. Well, I went to Party City. We had such a great thing there that they opened a second store. And the second store was a show store for the chain. And they brought in all the franchises from around America. We had 300 people get bussed in to see the store, and the store was phenomenal. Well, that year I got myself a promotion. I became a district manager. I was in charge of the 2 stores in Vegas. I was in charge of stores in California, charge of stores in Utah, and in Colorado. Well, it went really good. And I tell you, we celebrated that night, me and the wife. We were married about 12, 13 years. I always say, went to see Siegfried and Roy. The company took us to see them. We stayed in the Mirage Hotel. And that night, I swear, we made my daughter Rachel. That's what she did. She doesn't tell her that all the time because I swear it's true. At that point, my wife's like, you're successful enough, we can have a family now. That's what she told me. So that was it. But I stayed, when my wife was pregnant with Rachel, I was flying out every day to California, flying back home every day from California. I didn't want her to give birth in the middle of the night. So every day I was flying. It's before 2001, before September 11. You'd be jump on a plane like it was nothing. Go right to the airport, hop on a plane, hop off a plane. It was nothing. I was a district manager for about a year. They were putting pressure on me to relocate to California. Of course, we only had 2 stores here, and I had 30 stores in California. Why do you want to keep flying this guy back and forth? It was a money thing. At that point, I asked him to stay in the Rainbow location. I stayed there for the next 8 years. All right. At the end of the 8 years, something happened that made me make a change. I had done well. I was a district manager. People really stayed away from me. I was making about $62,000 a year. My best bonus was $25,000. My best year, I made $87,000. At the time, I thought it was good money. Now, I don't think it's that good money. But I got to a point that the company said, Barney, you are maxed out. We will not give you any more raises. We'll give you a cost of living raise every few years, but that's it, you're done.